Hey everybody, this is Jason from Jason Berkman Photography, and today I'm going to talk to you about an amazing lens. This is the XF 50 to 140mm f2.8 R LM OISWR red badge zoom lens. Man, that is a mouthful. This is an incredible lens. This is probably the most amazing lens in the XF system. It's the sharpest, it's the most robust, this thing is just incredible. But let's talk about the pros and cons of this big beast. First of all, let's talk about build quality. Now this thing is a freaking tank. I mean, look at this thing, it's huge. It's like, that thing is like the size of a Buick. It's all metal construction, really well built. There's a lot of tech in here. I mean, we have linear motors, a lot of tech in this thing. This thing is just a really robust construction. It does have an amazing aperture ring that's really, it's thick, it's dampened, it has some heft to it so that it's not being, you can't knock this thing out of place. And I love that. I love being able to trust that wherever I set the aperture, I'm not gonna push it out of that designation. It also has a really amazing zoom, and it's really fluid and very smooth. And also the focus ring is really dampened and really amazing and smooth. It's just awesome. Now, this thing does not balance well on all of the Fujifilm cameras, definitely. As Fujifilm has a smaller form factor, this is not a small form factor. Balancing on the X-T4, it balances pretty well. I actually like it on this camera. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Now, if you can get an extra grip for it, sometimes that would be a little bit better. It also balances really, really well on the XH2. With the larger grip. Even if you had a battery grip with it, it just kind of helps to be able to have that extra thing to hold on to. The XS20, it's not going to balance really well on that. It's a small form factor. It's going to look pretty silly. The X-T5, it's not bad. It's actually not bad. As long as you have the external grip, if you add that grip to it, it's going to be much, much better. If you don't, the XE4, yeah, that's going to look pretty darn silly. Don't even try it. Don't do it. No XE4 with a 50 to 1. Now you could do it if you need, if that's the only Fujifilm camera you have. I would still use this thing because it's incredible. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing lens. Now let's talk about the image quality, because that is the most important aspect of any lens, is how are the pictures going to come out, right? For landscapes, this thing is really incredible. I took a trip down the one in California, the California coast, and got a lot of pictures of some landscapes. Actually took some pictures in San Francisco on my way down to Los Angeles and along the coast of Big Sur, and took a lot of really great photos with this. There was a fisherman, he was on the rocks and he was fishing, and because I was zooming in, it really compresses the background, enlarges the background, so it looks just otherworldly, just really big, and it looked like he was just being overwhelmed with not only the terrain but with the waves and everything, and it's really majestic looking, so it can really make for some incredible landscapes. I would do landscapes all day with this thing. If you bring like a wide angle, like, you know, maybe a 23 or maybe the 13 or 16, and this thing, you're gonna get some really, really cool landscapes. We have 2 linear motors in this guy. 2 linear motors, so it's really, really fast, really, really sharp, incredibly silent. So the autofocus is incredible. Not only that, this has an optical image stabilization built in. So if you're zooming into, wherever you're zooming in, you're gonna have some control over shake and stuff like that. Now we have stabilization in this X-T4 and in my X-T5, my XH2. So it's going to be very, very stable with that and the OIS in here. If you're getting some birds or animals or stuff like that, wildlife, it's going to be really incredible zooming in. But for portraits, this thing really, really shines. Zooming in, you're getting very, very sharp results. Again, it's compressing because when we're zooming in, it's really compressing the background. You're going to get, not only are you getting the bokeh from that fast aperture, that 2.8 aperture, but you're going to get a lot of compression that's going to enhance that bokeh. So you're going to get a lot of bokeh-licious bokeh. It's going to be incredible. Now let's talk about something that you might not actually think is the correct use for this thing, and that is street photography. I took this thing out in Japan. In my previous video, I talked about having the 16 to 55, the 50 to 140, and the 23. Basically, that was it. I'm able to be a wallflower and sit on the side and kind of zoom into my subjects, or zoom in and wait for my subjects to hit light like I did in a few photos that I'm putting into this video. So it really allows you to be that wallflower, and especially in Japan where people are really, really cognizant of people taking photos of them. They're like covering their faces, they're closing their eyes. It's pretty interesting. But so this actually allows me to be a wallflower and get some really great shots. And the subject separation, again, when you're zooming in, really makes the street and the background look pretty amazing. And it renders colors just absolutely spectacularly. So final thoughts on this lens. It's a big lens. If you don't mind the size, if you want something smaller, whether if you're doing portraits or you're doing landscape, it's not going to be as versatile as this. This thing is incredibly versatile for all of these different types of photography. So if you can deal with the size, you're going to get a lot of amazing shots with this lens. The quality, the tech that's in here, and believe it or not, this thing is actually smaller than the 70 to 200 for Sony and for Canon. I know Canon's they have a new, actually smaller version of their 70 to 200. The only downside of this lens is the size and the weight. And the lens hood, which leaves a little bit to be desired. You would think with a lens this amazing, they could afford maybe a little bit of a better lens hood. But you know what I mean? I'll take the good with the bad, because this thing is good. And I mean, really good. Guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being with me. And if you have any questions or comments, feelings, thoughts, or concerns, leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace! It is the 50 to 140 millimeter 50 to 140 millimeter. Shoot. OIS WR. Did I say that right?